Welcome, 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 and welcome back to another edition of what we're now going to call the Sneak Peek Podcast, because this gives you a little sneak peek not only into the club, but into 1 week, a little snapshot of what brilliant, wild, crazy, spicy, slightly messy, but working on the organization creatives are up to as we build our businesses and knock out obstacles of our lives as we build our dreams. So this is week one, and you will notice I am in a new uniform for this summer. This is week one of our special summer camp for the club, and everything's about to change here. So if you are already a member or thinking about becoming coming in, we're going to have a whole new platform for all of our replays, all of our courses, a whole private community that's off Facebook, off all the socials. Um, and it's getting pretty powerful. So it's scary, it's new, it's clunky, it's brilliant, it's messy, it's creative. And we are just coming out of a week of really powerful discussions around boundaries. And we're going to return to that. I said we would spend more time, and we are, but instead of just fitting it in because it was so awesome and haphazardly doing it, I put together, as part of this whole summer camp program in the club, a very systematic way to actually build your understanding of why boundaries are even important from a different way, to learn all the fundamentals of coaching yourself, working with your biology, working with your brain, so that you can have the tools that coaches have, that mentors have, especially from going through a lot of trial and tribulation. So I want to welcome you here to this summer camp, because this is the kind of summer camp that you can't ever ungo to. Once you learn what you learn here, it's a red pill, blue pill sort of thing. You can't unknow it. After this summer camp, you will have spent good quality time getting to know. This is week one of the cycle of creation. The first 4 weeks are each part of the 4F framework, which I am not going to tell you all of right now, but you will hear all of it by the end of month one in the camp. And all of the fundamentals of coaching, which then you get to go then apply to your self-coaching, your own work in service, your own clients. So boundaries will be back, but within a larger context that includes a much broader and comprehensive range of very important life topics. So for our first week of summer camp in the club, we are going to start unpacking the cycle that is naturally, but often incredibly frustrating for us hyper vigilant creatives. And once you see it from a bird's eye view, you'll see why it doesn't have to be as frustrating. For short, I'm calling it the 4F framework because each phase happens to conveniently begin with an F. And I like saying that we have a 4-letter framework that starts with F. It makes me remember it. But because we live in a very creative universe, this cycle doesn't have to happen in order, nor does it always have to happen linearly. And that's totally okay. When we expect all of our goals, all of our life to just be linear, when we expect perfect order, ask me and my business partner around my many Gmail accounts and my many Stripe accounts. When we expect it to be perfectly linear and ordered and fast, that can add to our stress and frustration. Yes, disorder can also add. So we need to learn how to move through this framework in a way that both works for us and allows for a little bit of mess. The first phase we're diving into today is the phase called figuring it out. And we're diving deep. So if you want to know all 4 parts, I've got to be a little tease right now and say you got to come in for the next 3 weeks to get the next 4 part or the next all of the parts. But I want you to think of a goal right now. Maybe you have one that just comes right up. This is what I'm working on, whether it's in the back of your mind or right in front of you. Maybe one you've been thinking of having, or you've tried before, or even given up on. Bring it up now. Bring her into the front of your mind. It's going to be helpful if you apply this to a goal. Even if it's a tiny, easy goal, you'll still see how this can work. You also have so much support here, so why not bring a bigger goal and learn how to cultivate it in a way that maybe you've never cultivated a goal before. Figuring it out, phase 1 of the 4F framework, figuring out the goal, how you're going to get it, is usually, I said how you're going to get it because it usually comes from how. Our brains want the how right away. It's an internal process, though. Just to even be at figuring it out means that you probably are enjoying not feeling so stuck anymore, or not feeling so exhausted that you can't generate some energy to start figuring out a new goal. But sometimes just figuring out your new goal is the way you're going to get unstuck. So let this happen however it happens for you. And also, you can get stuck in the figuring out phase, because this phase is probably the phase that feels the safest of all of the phases for us in the beginning. We're so good at going to school. We're so good at figuring it out. Give us the tasks, give us the checklist. That's safety. Some of the next phases that are going to come are going to be a little more activating. That's why we're going to really ground you in with this figuring out this week. This phase, the figuring it out phase, is where you get to contemplate and start choosing, and I like to say dating your goals. That means you're going to build a relationship with them, figure out how they feel. And if they feel like poop, you're going to fix that during this figuring out phase. You're going to start building belief before you go out there in the world and really get confronted with some activation, which is great because all the internal work you do is where you have so much power. Now, first I want you to check, are you wanting whatever goal you're thinking of because you think you're lacking something? And if you achieve the goal, then you're going to be happy, or you're going to be better off in some way. This is the first checkpoint. You don't want to blow by it, because if you do, it's one of the first mistakes we make with setting goals, because it can make this phase of figuring it out feel frantic and urgent and painful against that soft part of our being that just wants to let the desire be the desire. Figuring out your goal when you're in the figuring out phase from a place of lack and urgency and insufficiency, or not enoughness, or not happy enough, is very different than figuring out how you're going to do the goal and why you want to do the goal and who you're going to involve in the goal from a place of wholeness. Sufficiency matters when you're starting to go down your goals. It adds to the energy. Chasing this carrot stick, this happiness or this skinniness or this peace of mindness or this everything will be better when, that will never solve itself. You will always be chasing. Happiness comes from our thinking, not from achieving the goal. Let me say that again. You can generate happiness now as a way of even starting to get your goals going, not having to wait for happiness once you've achieved the goal. Otherwise, every time you achieved a goal, you just be like, oh, now I'm happy. I'm good. It doesn't really work that way. We've got some very miserable overachievers in this world. Let me tell you how I know. So be honest and loving enough to yourself to stay clear on that. You can be happy now before you've achieved the goal. You can also have problems now. And when you achieve the goal, you will be both happy and still have problems. So that's going to set you up for a very different cycle of creation if you have that first checkpoint in place. So if we don't set goals in order to be happy, or in order to be skinny, or in order to be rich or relaxed, why do we set goals? We set goals to become the next version of ourselves. We set goals to bring up all the parts of ourself and our experience that are ready to level up. All the obstacles, all the shortcomings, all the pain, all the invisible things we can't see. Which means you're going to see the shortcomings and the obstacles loud and clear as soon as you start setting this goal and being really into a goal. It's not like you're just going to be like, this is so much fun the whole time. We want it to be that way. But when you start seeing the obstacles, this is not an invitation to beat yourself up or to wonder why you're not where you need to be already. That's usually what we do. It starts to get hard and we go like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? You are already perfect and capable of all of the emotions right now, even happiness. So when you set the goal, know that you're not going to be even any more perfect, but you will be the person who saw the obstacles and figured out how to solve them. Goals show you the obstacles and blocks and what you need to learn and what you get to figure out how you're going to overcome it. Goals create a deliberate focus for your brain, which can help you then not beat yourself up about your shortcomings if you know your goals are supposed to be bringing out the shortcomings. So the figuring it out process, before anything, I want you to acknowledge that what you want, the desire itself, is very important information. If you think it's because you're going to be happier, you want to know that you're coming from lack. If you think that it's because you want to figure out and become the next version of you, you have a shot at coming from abundance. The difference between living on autopilot and constantly putting out fires and just doing the easy stuff versus allowing yourself to come from, I'm already enough, but I now want to create the next level. That allows you to dream from abundance and not from scarcity, which makes your goals feel like poop every step of the way. Wanting from abundance is a different wanting energy. And you can start by making a list of things. This is one of the things we talked about this week. Check this out. Consider all of the things that you really want that you already have in your life. Maybe it's a pool in the backyard. That's a thing that you can want so badly and then say, and I have that. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's a certain routine that you go through and you really have wanted that your whole life and you have it. Maybe it's a talent. Once you come up with a list of things that you genuinely want and you already have, then slip your goal in there, the thing that you want but don't have yet, and allow yourself to think of it with the same energy of abundance of already having. That's a little secret hack. Instead of just jumping straight to the how, get really specific about what you want, but not how to get it. And you start to think about the what, and you're coming from this I already have energy of all the other things. And you can start writing down your goal and enjoying having the goal before you even get to the how. Because it's so tempting to want something and then immediately start figuring out how to get it. But that's not usually how goal achievement ends up working. I wish I had a dime for every time I open the internet or the social medias and I hear someone saying, let me give you my proven framework. Because I went through so much struggle and so much hardship and I did so many things wrong. I figured out what works. And then we're like, oh, sign me up. I want to know what works. They just told you that what works was failing a lot, was becoming a person that overcame all the obstacles. It's like a backwards thing we love it in our society. Like, okay, give me the hacks. The hack is to fail. The hack is to bring up the obstacles and be okay with that. Usually by the time your brain thinks it has brilliantly even come up with a goal, you've actually already subconsciously in your unconscious been engaging with the goal with a much more potent and powerful step, more upstream step, long before you're here in the head with the goal and trying to figure out how to do it. The first step, the first question, the thing that actually initiates us human to do anything. So it's incredibly helpful to then bring it into our conscious minds and align with the truth of what's already present is why you want the goal. You've been cultivating it under the surface, whether it's because you're feeling pain from not having it or you're feeling joy every time you get close to it. The first question you can ask yourself to bring what's unconscious into your conscious is, why do I want this? And then, and this is important, spend some time enjoying answering why you want this. Take your goal out on a few dates. Get to know her. She has so much to tell you. You want to create a new album? You want to create a band? You got a project? You want to get your business out to the world? You want to have a summer camp? Let's ask her why you want that. All of that is such good information before we get to the how. Stuff that you want to know to make your goal achievement so much more fun and sustainable. When we hear ourselves saying things like, oh, this is so hard, I'm losing hope that I can ever do this, I don't know if I have the time or the bandwidth, I've been trying to get it for so many years, for so long. My personal favorite is I've been at this forever. When I start hearing me say that, it's usually because we've lost touch with the why. Or if I'm going to post something on social media, I'm like, oh, I got to post right now. I forgot why I'm posting. I forgot about the people on the other side that are going, thank you, needed that, or that I'm cultivating something in the long term. Sure, us wild, brilliant, messy creatives can say, oh, here's why I want it, and spout off a list really fast. We're wild, messy, brilliant creatives. We can list anything you want. We can generate lists on demand all day long. But if they come out with the energy of complaints, here's why I want it, here's what the problem is, and here's why I can't get it, and here's what I've been trying for so long, or they come out as defeated things that we've been going around and around with, maybe even started to doubt and give up on, that means we're not reporting why we want it. We say we're committed. We say we really want the thing, that we're really trying, but our energy doesn't present that way. We say it, but our energy says we're actually giving up. Maybe we've already given up or we're really close, unless something proves to us we should keep going. In my first business, my why, I didn't know this goal cultivation, but the reason it worked, now that I can reflect, was because my why was so strong. I wanted freedom from the corporate world. I wanted freedom from the bosses. I wanted freedom from the engine of just the, what do they call it? The hamster wheel. I would ask my work colleagues in the office, are you happy? Are you like genuinely happy? And when their number one answer was, well, I've just done it for so long. Or their number two answer was, well, I only have fill in the blank number years till retirement, so I might as well keep doing this. That made me panicked. That was me coming from urgency. But freedom, the taste of freedom, traveling and doing these things, I didn't know how, but I knew that I needed to be free. I might have been being a little dramatic. I can definitely be that. But my why was palpable. I did not care about the how. I had no plan. I started to tell a story that I forgot to finish today with a student who was recently at her swim meet, and she loves singing. The swim meets was just about to go live. Everybody's about to jump in the water and do all the swim events, but they lost the person that was supposed to come to sing the national anthem. They didn't show up or whatever. And so one of the coaches got up and said to the swimmers, is there anyone here who would be willing to sing the national anthem? And my student's hand shot up with absolutely, I will sing that national anthem. She does not know the words all the way. She doesn't know the pitches all the way. And it shows in the recording that she didn't know. But guess what she did? She sang the whole thing with so much gusto, changing keys, changing pitches when she needed to. She finished strong. The whole thing was strong. That is how we do. We don't care about the how at first. Now, of course, we're working on the pitches of the national anthem because she saw what obstacles were in the way fast. She got some data fast. With my business, I had no plan. I had no how. In fact, a plan even felt like prison. A plan felt too corporate for me at the time. All I was going off of was desire. I had a deep felt sense of why. And that was the foundation I built the first business on. Yes, of course, a lot of hard work and the how steps happened, all the actions happened, but none of them were planned from me going, I'm out of here, corporate. I've got a plan of how I'm going to build a massive music business. I couldn't have known that it would involve dating certain people, traveling to different countries, showing up and having serendipities and amazing coincidences happen. That couldn't have been in my plan. Same goes for when I was really trying to get healthier, lose weight, get more fit, heal a diagnosis in my body. I had no idea that I would have to go sit in ashrams around the world, learn about hypnotherapy, become a hypnotherapist, date some more people, cry my face off while eating cookies in a car. Those were important steps along the way that I could not have planned out as part of the how. None of that could have been a step-by-step proven blueprint that I bought online. I could give you so many examples, and we will use them over time. But for now, let me give you some simple scaffolding to hold on to as you are starting to date your why in your goal. Why you want to build that business, why you want to get that band going, why you want to break down those boxes. I have a feeling they're going to be done by the time this call ends. Number one part of the scaffolding, remember that your brain needs direction and supervision. Left to its own devices, it's going to go to the past and it's going to do harm. It's going to keep you safe. It's going to think it's protecting you, but it's going to fight for your limitations. It's going to fight for you to stay the same. So be willing to give your brain the direction and supervision. It's going to be either your new goal or basic survival on repeat. There are so many inputs into your brain coming in every day. So your brain is going to filter those inputs for what it already knows that keeps you safe, unless you give it a new direction toward a new goal to filter some of the inputs like, oh, I could use that. Oh, that's interesting. I could learn from that. That just gave me a creative idea. It will do it if you want it to, if you give it the filters. So your brain wants you to give it direction. It loves feeling safe with scaffolding like this. Scaffolding number 2, remember that you're either creating your future or you're recreating the past. Those are like the 2 things your brain is going to do. I have an idea and I've kind of visioned it out. I can see some stuff. I'm going to go forward. I don't have to be all the way to the finish line. Just the next thing, the thing today that I'm going to do, picture it, envision it. That's the same thing as your brain recreating from the past. Of course, the past is still going to be more compelling. We got to fight inertia here. Recreating the past is always easier, always more efficient. So get ready for the programming to be like, let's just do this. Let me tell you all the reasons why this has worked before. It's going to take something to go, I understand that, brain, but what if this works? Let's at least do this first step to find out. Get more data. Scaffolding number 3, you can at any moment live a deliberate life that you truly want. Remember that instead of just surviving and going about business as usual and listening to those thoughts, in any instant, you can shift to, wait, what do I want? Why do I want it? And you can date it in that instant. This will require you sometimes to do things like write it on a piece of paper. So in that moment, you can help yourself remember. Tell a friend, tell a coach, hey, I'm going to be fighting for my limitations for a moment. I need you to help me remember why I'm doing this. That's okay if you're an external processor and you need external motivation sometimes. Know thyself. The reason we resist most of our goals is because as we start to shift from business as usual, creating the past on repeat, we start to shift into something new. It brings up discomfort. It brings up doubt. So we set easy goals like I'm going to make a sandwich for lunch. Good goal. You can do that. It doesn't bring up that much uncomfortableness or doubt. It doesn't bring up not knowing. And you don't have to rush to the how of figuring that out oftentimes now. But when we start making different goals, new goals, different, bigger goals, future-based goals that the how is not obvious, doubt, discomfort is going to come up. We know how to process emotions, and we're going to be going through all that in summer camp again. So in a moment, I'm going to walk you through a process on how to do goals when you have no idea to do the how part. But the first step I'm offering you is first go for the why. Okay. Now, I want to take a quick moment and bring you to this point. If you hear nothing else today, hear this. I understand how compelling it's going to be to go back to the past, to recreate something that just feels safe. And I also understand that we are human beings with limitations. And often those limitations, if they've been with us our whole life, they feel really big. And they feel really hard, and they can be feeling really painful. So I am not here to negate that you have limitations. We do. I do. And when my limitations are loud, they're loud. But my job as your coach, who is here for your highest evolution, for what you want, you tell me you want something, we're here for that. I'm here for that. My job is to lovingly ask you why you are fighting for those limitations harder than you're fighting for your freedom from them. That's why we're here, to shift from reasoning out why it's so hard to giving our brain the motivation and the scaffolding to be free from them. We're here learning, coaching, communitying, to lay our burdens down and pick up the self-belief that has always been available to you and always in any instance is available, whether you see it or not. Freedom is always right there. You can choose it. So sometimes that means that you're here wanting to grow your business, wanting to grow your bank account, but the thing that's in the way, the obstacle that's in the way is something about a relationship that doesn't seem to make sense, or something about your self-esteem, or losing weight, or getting to the gym, or managing your kids differently. that's okay. Let that be part of what your brain is showing you. I can't do the business yet because I don't understand this. We'll coach on any obstacle. Trust that our brains are still holding your goal, especially when you start to date them, and hold the why and hold the who, which we haven't talked about yet. So we'll coach on any obstacle that's holding you back, but let everything, any conversation, any coaching topic be something that teaches you and guides you. Trust your brain to use it for you. Say a little prayer right now. Ask your brain to always be looking for, filtering for your release, your freedom from the beliefs that you used to have protecting you that are now no longer serving you. And with that, let's turn our final moments of attention to that business, to that creative project. Once again, today in the club, some of you were working on great things, being with your kids more, reading your kids to sleep, having that time, getting on more podcasts, balancing work with relaxation, building new relationships. That was one big one for me. Generating money, all of those things could be your goal. We're going to get a little more measured and clear on them. The reason we choose to have goals, remember, is that we think we can achieve them by knowing the how. We think at first we make an easy goal, we know the how, we're done. And we know that before you get to the how, we need to ask why you want the thing, and make sure that you're not coming from scarcity and urgency, but from abundance. And now I want to give you the second part, which is mission critical to ask yourself, not just why, but who. And I don't mean just who you need to involve or recruit or hire or ask to help you. I mean, who are you going to have to become in order to reach that goal? And to answer who will I become who has done this goal, there are 3 smaller questions that your brilliant creative mind can start already making the transformation from today, this point. So ask yourself, from the perspective of the you, use your imagination to go forward into the you that's already achieved the goal. Hold her in your imagination and ask her, what are you thinking? What are you thinking now that the goal is done? How did you do it? What are you looking back on? What was hard? What did you have to overcome? What did you tell yourself during those hard times? What worked? Question number 2, in addition to what are you thinking when you have achieved the goal, what are you feeling? What are your problems now? What gets you going? What gets you mad once you've achieved the goal? What makes you happy now? And question number 3, what would we see you actually doing now? Yes, maybe you're laying by the pool more, but would you also be on the phone with your tech team once a week? Because that was one of the things that helped you get your goal. What are you thinking, feeling, and doing? And come from the perspective of you who has achieved the goal. Because if you want to have different results in your life than you have right now, my darlings, you are going to have to think different thoughts, feel different feelings, and I mean discomfort and doubt, in a way that doesn't get shoved down and panicked over, and act in alignment with the you who has achieved the goal. It means you're going to have to increase your capacity for even coming from sufficiency and abundance. It means you might have to increase your capacity for offering things to the world instead of consuming. You might have to get to work creating some things. You probably will have an expanded capacity for generating energy when you need it. You might be like, I'm exhausted, I can't do this. Oh, but I'll just do this one thing, and I know myself now to be someone who can do the thing, even if I'm tired. You'll expand your ability to be a contribution, to be connected in a way that doesn't drain you but fills you. You will have expanded your capacity to feel the yin-yang 50-50 truth of life. So I had no idea that building a second business was going to the how. I bought so many programs with their proven blueprints. None of them said you're going to have to make friends with the mornings. You're going to have to get up, get ready, be prepared in a way that you're happy about. And it never worked for me to use the proven framework around money and like goals for I'm going to make $1 million. I had to figure out the why and the how the why and the who for me, and the who I was becoming. The way I thought about making $1 million that worked for me was to know that I had contributed $1 million in value to the people that I care about and serve. And I wrote that little thought down and I kept it in my toiletry bag so that I could keep referring to it and fortifying my belief around that. That aligned with the me that I was becoming, the me that easily made $1 million in her sleep. It wasn't going to work. Just let's do it. I love money. Great. That works for some people. For me, it was great. Let's do it. Let's be of service. That got me out of bed in the morning. That helped when I was doubting my self-worth. So I also drew you some pictures this week in the club. If you aren't already here, or if you're already here, you got the replays to watch. I had to draw them on pieces of paper because our chat or our whiteboard didn't work. But in the honor of time, I'm not going to bring up the whiteboard now. I'm just going to refer to those pictures of old you and future you and what happens in between the old you and future you, or the current you and the future you, where there's going to be discomfort every step along the way. Planning on that is good for you. There's going to be 50-50, current you and future you. Both are going to have joys and wonderful emotions, and both are going to have problems and sad emotions or negative emotions. And both the current you and the future you have how knowledge of how you do something. But the current you now has only the how information of the 1 week, 2 week, 3 week. She has less information about the 25-year how. But the 25-year from now version of you knows how you did it. And to get comfortable with not knowing the how and instead getting out there, making decisions, acting, feeling your feelings, getting data, and then making new decisions, that's what we're doing here in summer camp, in the club, all the time. We are systematically giving you everything you should have learned about your brain, your biology, and your emotional well-being. Y'all want this. Stay in camp, get your uniforms, come with me. We're going to go get in a canoe right now and do some coaching. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Everything to gain, not game, everything to gain. Let's coach.